We're at a site called Sillustani, and this is near Lake Titicaca in Peru. And what is behind me, or what are behind me, are two towers. This one, which is quite crude, and this one higher up, which is quite advanced in terms of its execution. Conventional archaeology believes that this one was earlier, the one above was later. This was made by the Waaay, that by the Inca. But in fact, we'll see compelling evidence that the one above is in fact thousands of years older than this one. So look at the interior. You see the tower flares outwards from the bottom, which is not a smart practice in terms of construction, but it was clearly deliberate. And then also there's like a beehive shape coming up about 2/3 of the way up, and then empty space. As well, the depressions almost scooped out in the middle. There's not a male counterpart to these. These are cup marks hollowing out the interior of the outer wall. So the presumption we now have is that rather than being built as funeral towers, these were built as some kind of sonic device of some kind. Some speculate ancient earthquake dampers, some speculate resonance chambers or collectors of some kind of energy, but definitely not built as funeral towers, even though later on, by possibly the Inca, they could have been used for funeral towers. And again, the difference in construction technique. Here you have fieldstone stacked on top of one another. And then you have these exquisite, now damaged, amazing megalithic constructions.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you tell us what you're picking up with your wand?
Yeah. I'm finding that it's seem to be two areas of energy. The up on the top here with these sites, it's picking the energy up at least 30 yards back there. And then also at the lower cholpas, there are two bands of energy crossing. So there's strong energy down there. Chris is down there checking that out. I've come up here checking this out. I went inside one. Are you allowed in them?
Sort of.
Yeah. I didn't go in this one, but I went in a little one down there, and I was surprised that there wasn't strong energy inside it. So I don't know what the purpose of it was. I can't think it was grain storage because the entrance is so small it'd be very difficult to get grain in and out.
Yeah, it's actually the interior, sorry, but the interior is tuned to A.
Ah, okay.
So
resonant chambers.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then again, you see these giant cracks that are in it. The stone is broken. That's not simply from the force of the stone on top of it. It's as if either an earthquake hit this, or if it was some kind of sonic or vibratory machine, that maybe it became overloaded and cracked or even broke open. And then another curious thing is that this one has knobs on it sticking out, and most of the knobs are on the north side. Why would that be?
So you just said all the
two bigger yang bands, one down through those cholpas and one up here. Well, it stops actually before this really big one here. There's this little minor yang through that one. So we're feeling like it was a whole field, a whole sort of energy field.
Energy grid.
Yeah.
So I'm actually wandering through a whole area of basically broken or possibly exploded chulpa tower sections like these ones here. I know the idea that these were energy centers that exploded may seem like a crazy idea to you, but that is something that very serious engineers have told me, ones that I have actually brought here. But finally what I'm going to show you are the remains of a giant square Chopra tower that I honestly believe exploded once I get past the alpacas, because the stones that came from it are all thrown off towards the west, and most of the damage here at Sillustani is from the east towards the west. So it was not the result of the Spanish tearing these buildings down or the Inca or anyone else damaging them. There had to have been some kind of massive earthquake that went from east to west, or indeed, oh, look at this baby one. Or indeed that at some time in the very distant past, that this was some kind of energetic center, and it could be that the whole site became overloaded with energy and these buildings literally exploded. So these blocks are just massive. This one was square. And in terms of scale, a human can crawl through that quite easily. And this is the size of the stones at work. And the debris field tends to be off in this direction. Way, almost as far as you can see. Well beyond those two men. The thing is, we're still trying to find out more and more about who these ancient megalithic builders were. Here in Peru, in Bolivia, in Egypt, in England, many parts of the world. Some group or groups of very ancient people did these monumental constructions, seemingly not with brute human force, but with some kinds of lost ancient technologies, possibly sonic or vibrational in function. Do we have the tools? No, not yet. We're looking for them. But the idea that the Inca built all of the incredible megalithic sites in Peru is simply becoming somewhat nonsensical. The Inca were the last great civilization in this part of Peru, but they weren't the first.